This is Sarkis. He's the founder of Restep.io, a platform that focuses on automating and simplifying digital workflows and learning processes.
You remember that game Dreams?
Yeah.
When it first came out, the idea that anyone could go and collaboratively build games was incredible, right? We built the same thing, but for skills, for knowledge. And so now people can collaborate on creating these resteps. They can create courses, share it, monetize it, all kinds of things. It's a whole new marketplace, a whole new skill sharing economy, essentially, that we're creating here.
Restep.io is truly revolutionizing how you and I learn a new skill. And in this episode, Sarkis is going to tell us how he created it. I'm Doc Williams, a no-code tool specialist and tech entrepreneur with over 12 years of experience. Let's get started. Hey everyone, it's your boy Doc Williams, and we are back with another episode. This is a very special episode. We have a returning guest star to the show. Who do we have on the show today?
Sarkis Bunyatian, the co-founder and head of product at Restep, and blessed to be your friend. Thanks for being part of our journey the last 4 years. I remember I was in Koh Samui when we did a live stream together. We talked about Restep at the early stages, and it's amazing to see how far we've come and how far your platform has come. So thanks so much for having me.
Man, I appreciate it. Always likewise, man. It's been fun, and just seeing all the things that you've been doing in life and with Restep, it's great to see. So for people that maybe are unfamiliar with Restep, could you tell people what is Restep?
So Restep is an education automation platform that works as a layer on top of the internet that we embed into products across the world. And when you embed it, it's able to keep track of everything going on in that platform, all the elements that are in the platform. And then as the platform evolves, our platform is able to keep track of that. And you're able to create these automated workflows. You're able to capture anything you do within these products and then share it with anyone you like, which is incredible for business purposes, great for reducing friction, onboarding, helping with a lot of different things on that front. But more importantly, it's great for the community. It's great for the users, because now for the first time, they can actually do what you do, not just watch what you do or hear about it, right? We all know the best way to learn anything is by doing it yourself, not being told how to do it. And I mean, there's just a treasure trove of knowledge and experience in your platform alone over the years that you've shared. That would be incredible to get that out in people's hands on their device running. So when you send a restep, there's no friction at all. You don't have to install anything. There's no Chrome extension. Back then there was. We actually shifted that for that reason. So to just put the pressure, put the all the work on the platform side, not on the user side. No one wants to install one more thing, right? If it's a YouTube video or I want to share your stream with someone, I just send the link and it's done. Like I don't have to go install YouTube to go share that or watch it, right? In the case of Restep, we realized that, okay, great, you can install a Chrome extension, but there is friction there. Like I still have to go and learn and understand how it works. But if it's, for example, embedded into a product like Webflow, I can just go ahead, create my workflow, create my Restep, and just send it to you. And then as soon as you click on it, it just opens a new Webflow project and you just start learning. And so it starts highlighting that journey for you and saying like, well, here's how Sako did it. He clicked here, then he clicked here, then he clicked there. And as it goes through, it actually understands what these clicks are, what these actions are doing for you in the product. It's not just blindly trying to just replicate or show you, trace over what you did. It actually knows what a div block is. It knows what an element is and so on. And so this has been the biggest problem, not just during the internet age, but forever, is that, knowledge and information just keeps changing, right? So how do we create a format that can change with you? And so in a nutshell, for millennia, we've been able to transfer our cultures, our beliefs, our knowledge in many different ways. And now for the first time, you can transfer your skills. So that's really where Restep steps in. And then you can also automate that whole workflow, repetitive things that maybe you know exactly how to do and you don't want to ever do it again. Just capture it as a Restep and just auto run it anytime you need to, on demand, basically. So the cliffhanger would be, you've seen some of the bigger projects I've done in the Webflow community, rebuilds of the PlayStation, Civilization 6. If I had to go back right now and redo that, it would be a nightmare. Like, I don't even want to touch those projects again. There was so much work that went into it. But if I just had the restep on the side, I could just rebuild that whole project within minutes on demand anytime I want.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, it really is shifting how people are going to be learning and what they can be doing. It's just amazing. So let's talk about this for a moment. Where I mean, yes, this I do a lot on YouTube, but to your point, a lot of times it's great to watch it, but a lot of people
Yeah.
just need to get in and do some things. They need to be able to just get into the project. Could you talk a little bit about or explain when they're going through the motions, how does that help them learn more as they're progressing through that? Are they just watching it, or what happens step by step as they're actually progressing through a project when it's being rebuilt or things like that?
So there are different ways to learn. One is it just does it for you, right? That's people who are more comfortable with just watching, for example. But the difference is, small little caveat, is that it's actually happening. It's not just passively, let me go watch it on this other platform, come back and then do it again, or and make a dozen mistakes along the way. You're watching this whole project just get done for you step by step, and it describes each step so you understand what it is. And we also have a ChatGPT integration that keeps track, our AI model keeps track of all of these actions. So then you can stop at any point and ask a question and say, so what is this about? What is the difference between a section and a container, whatever? So it's kind of like taking the whole Webflow University, for example, taking the whole forum, taking all the experts, and just aggregating all of that into one little interface and just saying, do it. And I'm there to take your hand. You're not going to get lost.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And first of all, we've been talking about this for a couple of years. How much work did this take for you to work on this? How much time and effort to really come up with this and iterate on it, if you don't mind me asking?
So yeah, it's been over 4 years now. Shout out to my partner Mitsoka Aravias. Um, yeah, him and the team and just all of us, the way we came together was actually we solved our own problem. So back in 2020, I think it was like around July, August. Mitsuo reached out to me to work on one of his projects. He had an idea of doing a mobile app creator. There were some really cool ideas there. And he wasn't really sure how to go about in using no-code tools to do that. So he reached out to me. And then we decided to go deeper in a different direction. So, why don't we create like a multiplayer for creatives? At the beginning, we called the platform Schema. And then as we were building that, there was an automation layer that a function that allowed you to essentially take something you created in Schema and then it just automatically does it in Webflow for you. And I'm like, wait, that's the product. All this other stuff is nice, but this is what gets integrated everywhere. So this is going to enable everyone to share what they do. So what better multiplayer platform have you remember that game Dreams
Yeah.
on that? I don't know what happened to that platform after a while. It just kind of like fizzled out. I didn't hear much about it. I think it's still going on, but it was when it first came out, the idea that anyone could go and collaboratively build games was incredible, right? And so we built the same thing, but for skills, for knowledge. And so now people can collaborate on creating these resteps. They can create courses, share it, monetize it, all kinds of things. It's a whole new marketplace, a whole new skill sharing economy, essentially, that we're creating here. Or we're taking to existing skill share economy and just putting you in the middle of it instead of putting you, on the outside looking in, right? So in a nutshell, after it was in 2021 that we really dove in and announced it for the first time. Uh, and that's when you did the feature for us as well. So thank you so much. And that was right before I was going to China as well, where I met my wife. Um, and I remember at that stage when we first announced it, we went gangbusters. Like the no code. I mean, I think we had 700 signups or something in the first week. So that's when we quickly realized that, okay, what we did works for Webflow, but if you want this to scale to every platform, you have to have an API, you have to have an engine to pull this off. So we bunkered down and started building that whole API. It took us about another year, and then we opened it up the third year and started already talking to customers and talking to companies. And then we realized, wait a minute, we're not a B2C company, we're a B2B company. We're not, supposed to be going door to door to each user and convincing them to use this. We need to be going to the platform and saying, hey, you have 3 million users, this is going to help all 3 million of them. And so we're not growing one user at a time, we're growing one platform at a time. And that's why you need to have an engine that's robust enough that can keep track of everything that's happening across these platforms. So when you create these hundreds, thousands, millions of resteps eventually, like, they never break. That's the problem with knowledge, right? If you go to Wikipedia, it's like if someone doesn't go in and update that knowledge base, it's outdated. In the case of Restep, it automatically is able to go and see what's happening on the internet, what's happening in Webflow or these other platforms, for example, Xano, let's say, and actually see, like, okay, this element moved here, this was removed. If something, for example, is outright gone, it just sends a notification to the company and saying that, hey, I've paused these resteps for now, can you please go fix this step so then I can go and continue serving your users. So it's an intelligent system for capturing and sharing this stuff. It's not just trying to be an onboarding tool or just create some demos, for example. It's actually doing it.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple different ways we can go about this for this next part because you have allowed me to have the privilege to see it in action. Would you like us to do a demo or describe as it goes through these different things to show
Oh
the
no,
audience and
seeing
tell
is
about it?
believing. Seeing is believing. Actually, the funny thing is, Doc, and I think you've been in that same boat, is sometimes you explain Restep to someone and they think it's like a smarter video or something. They don't realize that it's actually happening on your device. That's the part that, even though we say it, once they see it, they're always shocked. So I can't wait to see everyone's face when they see this. Why don't we start on the website actually and see the demo that's there, and then I can go live into our demo in Webflow. Yeah, right.
Okay.
So these are all examples right now on Restep.io. These are examples of all the different formats, right? Ways that we've been sharing knowledge in general. And so everything is passive, right? A screenshot, an audio, a quiz, a PDF, whatever. Like, this is not the way you're supposed to be teaching someone how to, learn a tool, a platform. Like, there's so much knowledge in there. Once one workflow, like just building a hero section or just a landing page, is hundreds of steps. Like, so how are you going to share that with me? You're going to tell me about it? So this knowledge is not really retained. If you just scroll down for a second to the metrics, there you go. Like, this is what's crazy. If you look at video tutorials, 75% of these tutorials, they drop off in 30 seconds, right? And then in the first week, most of that knowledge is already gone. So the more we looked at the data, the crazier it got. These are like the 9 that we wanted to share. There's probably another 90. Like, it just gets worse and worse as you realize that really the only way to do this is by taking their hand. So if you go to the top and you click on the demo, Restep is going to build this hero section with you right now. Right? So you just have to go and click yourself right at the top, and it does it.
Oh, wow.
And it shows you the progress at the bottom, so you know what's happening. It explains. You can open up, for example, the chapter drop down right at the top there. There you go. Keep track in real time of where you are. So you can learn at
Oh,
your own
wow.
pace. That's the most important part of this. Compare this to like learning with 30 other students in a classroom, right? A teacher has like 1 hour to try to get as much information out there as possible. It's one size fits all. Restep is personalized for you. Every step is personalized for you.
Mm.
So you can do it yourself, or you can click on the play button that's flashing and it just does it for you.
Wow. And this is click the repeat button to view the previous one if I want to. So I could do, okay, so I could go back there. Okay. Wow. Do you want me to keep pressing or is it all right if I click this button for seeing the Copilot? Is that all right if I do that?
I think we just lost connection for a second. Here we go. So Yeah, if you click on the Copilot, it just comes to life. Go ahead.
Sako, is it all right if I click this button right here for the play? Is that?
Oh yeah, we just
Oh,
lost
wow.
connection. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
So I think the audience can hear it right now, but basically the co-pilot is just having a fun conversation with Doc right now, and and
Yep.
they're impressed with each other.
And what we'll do is we'll add it so they can see everything as the steps and everything. That's wonderful. So it's right there. I'm getting more guidance right here.
And
And also,
now with auto running, it just does the whole thing that it did earlier with this hero section, just does it all again for you instead of step by step, right? There you go.
wow,
And that definitely is just the beginning. So why don't I share my screen and
that
then we
is
can check
wonderful.
this out running in Webflow.
That is great. I think that's a great demo to show how so many different types of learners or different types of people can really utilize this. It's
Mhm.
not a one size fits all. There's so many different things that it can be doing. So that's
Absolutely.
amazing. And for people to check it out, there's going to be a link down below to test out that same demo right now as well. I'm going to add to the screen. I'm going to bring yours up.
Yep.
I'm going to
Let me know when
add,
to.
move other, let's see. Okay. So we have this. And then before presenting, remove the other media streams from this stage. No problem. 1 second. Stop screen, my other one. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. So here we have Restep embedded right now into the console in Webflow. So when we click it, here we are. So you get, this is the stream. This is where you can see all the courses available for this platform. So here we're just doing a quick demo. So we have FinSuite attributes, a course on some of their uh, top attributes, and then we have the intro to Webflow elements. And below you can see how many resteps are in each course, right? And at the top, you get a banner with all the statistics coming in for that platform. So for Webflow, we have 2 courses, 17 resteps, and the total number of times that resteps have been run for this platform by the community. And so if you jump into Intro to Webflow Elements, for example, now it gets deeper. Now you get to see how many minutes it's going to take to actually run all of these. When was this published? And then you get to go through and select which restep you want to go into. What do you want to learn? So in this case, let's say we want to learn about the container element. Now, before we even go in, Doc, you can see the whole chapter right here of what we're about to do. So you can come back at any time. It's just like having a textbook on hand. Uh, and here we go. So this is 14 steps. Now, when I click on the play, it just takes control of my device, goes straight into the add elements panel, and just adds the container straight to the page. Then it goes in, adds a class, changes the max width, so on and so forth. Now, at any point, I can stop and click on the Copilot if I want to get some help. This is what we were talking about earlier about aggregating everything about this platform, right? So here I could say, what's the difference between a rich text element and a link block, or let's say text link element? And there you go. And so eventually this is going to be narrated. You can have a conversation with it. And all of this knowledge that we're gathering is going to allow us to create our own prompt where you can just come in and say, hey, Restep, I want to create this hero section. Here's how I describe it. It has color, it has this, that. And can you go do that for me? It can go ahead and understand based on what everyone in that community has done. It can start to understand how to work with you and say, okay, based on your needs, this is the type of restep you need to be running. So it can either suggest one from the community, or it can just create one for you based on all the workflows that have already been run before, right? And now if I click on auto run, I could just sit back, make a coffee, and let it build it all for me.
Amazing.
Right. So this is the definitive way to learn anything moving forward. There is no going back. Like when you can actually just go into your favorite product and have it get done with you on the fly, why would you ever go scrub through another video or go through a forum asking questions? Like, why would you need to do that? On the contrary, the forum and all of these other platforms need to come to you. So you could take all that knowledge, like maybe go into the forum, ask a question, and the people answering you, instead of just trying to describe it to you, they can just go create a restep real quick, come back to you and show you and say, here, just click this link and let's take it from there. So that's just a little sneak peek.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Where's my sound effects for this one? Hold on a second. Yeah. That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. Excellent work. Excellent work. I see just the sky's the limit for this kind of thing. This is such an interesting approach. I think it's needed. And especially, like you were saying, there are so many things that entrepreneurs, small businesses are going to need to start utilizing.
Yeah,
This is what can really be a game changer for a small team to learn. But also, I'm thinking about if I have a smaller department, if I'm trying to stay lean, this is already giving them all of the resources right there to empower my team to be more proficient and to work better with some of
yeah,
these platforms.
absolutely. I mean, let's go through those use cases for a minute, right? Uh, the first and most obvious one is onboarding. Every product has this issue, especially the bigger platforms. If you look at a Bubble or a Webflow or a Xano or something like that, I mean, the possibilities with these platforms are endless. So where do you drop the user off exactly? It's like, here's where you should start. I don't know, So typically what happens is you'll have them go watch a bunch of videos, maybe get inspired by a few projects they've seen in the community. Then they come to that white page, and then the fear and the anxiety start sinking in, right? So if you just eliminate that entirely and say, hey, listen, what do you want to build? And you just give them an option and say, here's like 5 different really cool things you can build. And say, oh, wow, I love that landing page, or I love this prototype, for example, the PS4, let's say, the rebuild. As soon as they click it and they start just sitting back and it starts highlighting and selecting it and showing you, it's the fact that for the first time you can learn without making a single mistake in and of itself is madness. Like you always make mistakes, like so. But here, the fact that it's doing it with you and showing you is like learning, doing, and experimenting all kind of at the same time. So onboarding is one. That's the biggest one for the startups. And for the even some of these bigger companies now, they realize that those videos are not converting, man. 1 or 2% conversion, in contrast with the millions of dollars you have to spend redoing those videos every time. Which reminds me, Webflow University, we all know their videos are top notch, right? But they've been outdated for over a year now because their UI changed. And that is the whole point of this. Now I have to go and spend another $1 million, like going and doing all those videos. Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you even want to put yourself through that? Like, just have the actual workflows living with your product. Like, build a living library as opposed to a static library that can just be burned down or it goes out of date or whatever. Like, think about it. Like the Library of Alexandria, what did it represent? Centuries ago, what was that? It's like everyone agreed to put everything they know in one place, right? And then it's just gone. So we're building the modern Library of Alexandria, the Wikipedia for skills. This thing never gets outdated. So if you think about why people are contributing to platforms like Wikipedia and why no one can even take on a platform like that, it's because everyone is contributing. It's the content. I could go and spend $1 billion and build a better Wikipedia, but why? You're never going to replace the effort that went to curating that. And so people contribute because they know it's going to serve generations to come. So when you think about a Restep is not trying to be a technical tool or something. It's trying to be that repository. So you know that, hey, my kids are going to be learning all of these skills, these things that took me years to learn, they're going to be learning in days. So to me, it's almost like a spiritual mission to be building this company at this point. And I have a 3-year-old son, Alex. who whenever he sees Restep just working out, he's like, that's so cool. How he doesn't even know what it does yet properly. And he just sees it happening and he's like, I feel involved in it. So it's the same feeling that, when I heard in the news that kids were using the iPhone for the first time and they could just swipe it and just start playing with the apps without any manuals or guides, like that's a great product. So if a kid and someone in their 60s both look at Restep and think, I need this, now you've really hit gold, right? So onboarding, education, building a living forum, customer support is a huge one. Like, why would you go and answer the same repetitive question over and over again? It doesn't make any sense. Like, just have a repository of all those functions and just say, okay, on demand. Anytime someone asks me how to change my password, I don't have to go write a well-written email to explain that. It's just, here's the link. And all the company has to do is embed one line of code, and Restep takes care of everything else. So there is no friction or hassle in working with our platform at all. And as we go forward, these modes of learning that you've seen just unlocks other industries for us. So if you think about certification, for example, automation is a whole other one, but certification and testing alone, you look at what Microsoft charges for their certification programs. Do we need to go deeper? Or if you look at what Webflow is doing now with their certification system, it's really static. So it's like multiple questions or whatever. But in our case, in testing mode, for example, instead of highlighting it for you or doing it with you or automating it, it actually doesn't, it tells you what to do, but it doesn't highlight anything. So it just knows if you're making a mistake. And this is a great way to actually test someone's knowledge. Like, hey, if you're really that good at Webflow or Bubble or any other tool, okay, here's like a 100-step thing I need you to make. And so anyone who really knows that platform would not make one mistake. They would know what they're doing. And then the platform can keep track of that too. And then if we think about the marketplace opportunity, that's a whole other use case. The fact that all of this knowledge that you're sharing right now on YouTube, you can create your own courses and sell them, like objectively sell them. It's not like on iTunes, for example. I could spend 10 years making my masterpiece, my best album or best track. I'm still going to be selling it for 99 cents. Like that's just the industry accepted norm. But if you think about your personal skill, that's a subjective thing. Only you know, and the person you're giving it to knows what the value of that thing is. So if you look at a Hans Zimmer, if he said, I'm going to go ahead and take my entire Dark Knight soundtrack and give you the full workflow in Cubase of how I did that, he could be charging $10,000 for a single restep, and he could be able to work that way. And then eventually, when all of these top experts in all these platforms come together, our platform is going to be able to aggregate those workflows and that knowledge and start to really understand how these platforms work. So that's something that Google, these other companies, nobody can really do that today because they're scraping for data. They're not scraping for workflows, for how these things actually work. So our platform is the only one that can provide that data set. And the format of this data is where it's really crazy. It's only kilobytes compared to any other format because all we're sending and receiving is inputs, not the actual data. We don't care what the data is. You press the space bar. That's all I want to know. And so we are fully GDPR compliant. It's all running locally on your machine. This data cannot be hacked. It cannot be pirated. So you're not worried that, hey, if I share all my knowledge on Restep, then someone might be able to steal it and watch it on another platform, for example. No, you can only access it through Restep. So this becomes an objectively new way to make passive income, which is great for the community. And then for the last but not least, if we look at really any conversational tool that's out there right now, you think about chatbots, think about whatever, like fundamentally, they're all there to help connect you with the product. So there's so many modes that we can add where eventually you won't even need any of these conversations. You're just going to be doing everything. And especially once you get that muscle memory and you go to a platform that doesn't have Restep, it's jarring at that point. It's like, no, I will not go through your documentation. Thank you for sharing the link. So the last one I can give you is gaming use cases. So for example, Restep can highlight multiple elements and say, like, so which one is it? So you can create a gamified way of learning too. And we are talking to some schools here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where I'm based, where they're looking at more personalized way of educating, and they look at this and they're like, how has this not existed yet? Like we have teachers trying to just, and then there's language barriers and all these other issues, right? They're trying to hold everyone's hand. It's just not the way to learn anything complex. Restep just replaces all of that stuff.
I love it. No, so many different ways to use this to really empower people to learn and to get to the next level for themselves and their business. So thank you, man. This is really powerful stuff. That's why I'm just so excited to be telling everyone, shouting this from the rooftops. And this is only the beginning. So this is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone watching. We're going to be talking about this. This is not going to be the only time that we have talking about Restep. This is just the beginning on the
Yep.
channel and promoting it. So, Sako, please tell the good people, what should they be doing? Should they just simply go to the website? What would you want the ones that are interested? They want to promote this. They want to tell other, platforms that they use to adopt this. What should the people do?
So right now, what they can do is take our embed code, the same code that the company is going to be integrating, and they can just save it as a bookmark, and they can run Restep already themselves. We just want to get away from sort of proprietary platforms. Like if you think about the Chrome store, for example, they already are adding more and more restrictions. So, platforms like Restep eventually just get bottlenecked. You can't really function. Like right now, we can't, for example, paste custom code into, let's say, a field inside of Webflow because there are Chrome restrictions. And then what happens tomorrow when they add another restriction? So we just realized that this is just a disaster waiting to happen. Like, especially if you have millions of people relying on you and they're using the Chrome extension, and then you don't have that anymore. Your resteps are literally broken forever. You can't do anything. So we do have to embed this, but that also gives everyone the opportunity to just go into Webflow, create a blank Webflow project, for example, and just see for themselves. And this is not only for Webflow; it's for any platform. And we're working with numerous platforms right now. And we'll be going live in the coming weeks. One of the big ones we're working with right now is FinSuite and Wiz. So it's going to be very exciting to see how they use this and how this can serve them. One of the places they want to integrate this is in attributes, which is a huge one. FinSuite attributes, client first, things where there is actually a lot of like explain. If you go to their page, it just goes step by step. And then when we show them Restep, it's like, so instead of describing the step, you just kind of do the step. I'm like, yes, that's the point. You don't have to spend months trying to perfect the documentation for this. You just give it to them. So go use it. Let us know what you think. Please go to restep.io. And then for where you can really help us is if you work at a company or a company or platform that could really benefit from this, that could be the best way you can help us at this stage, is connecting us with them directly. We are building a relationship development platform, really, if you think about it. It's not just a knowledge sharing or education platform, it's actually relationship development, because if people use your product this way, they're building a healthier relationship with your product and with their community. So we want to go warm with each of these companies. We want to know the founders. We want to work directly with them and integrate this. Like Rive is another one that's been on our radar for a long time now. We would love to, for example, collaborate with them. They have so many incredible workflows that just all they can do right now is go to Twitter and share a preview of it. But what if they could also just add one little link underneath it that just takes you straight into a blank Rive project and shows you how that whole cool animation or interaction actually happens? The future is show, not tell.
I love it, man. No,
Yeah.
this is great stuff. Again, Sako, thank you for your time. We are really, really about this project. We're going to be talking about this a lot more coming up. And again, we send positive vibes. We are looking forward to this in so many different aspects. And we appreciate your time today. So make sure, remember, there's going to be links down below. Make sure that you check it out, download it, and also to reach out to Restep. All their information, the contact information is on the site right there. Make sure, and again, Sako, we'll be seeing you very soon on the platform again and on the show. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. And shout out to our team, to Mitso, my friend, my partner. Couldn't have asked for a better co-founder on this journey. It's been wild, especially building this remotely. Just learning the ropes and understanding these companies and what they actually need, and then waiting and going through the motions. But seeing all you have to just get it right once, right? And then all of that makes sense. So over here, finally seeing these companies reacting the way that we thought they would, and seeing kind of the change it brings to their businesses makes it all worth it. So shout out to Mitso, shout out to our team, everything they've been doing around the world. I hope that we can just bring that culture of education and learning into our business as well as our community. We're all in this together. That's what's crazy about this product. The team, the platforms, the users are all learning together. They're building this together, and you've been fundamental to that journey. So I promise you, as soon as we're ready to go live, you're going to be the first person that gets to break it. So thank you so much for staying up late and doing this with us.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. See you on the next one.